Welcome back everyone, Oz here. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And today we have the 11th installment of r/Entitled Parents. Do you guys remember that story last episode about the entitled mother who pulled the fire alarm to get their child out of the water? Well, this same poster is a hotel desk clerk and they have plenty of fun stories to tell us. And here is one of them. Hotel Hell. Hockey entitled dad, HD, threatens to fight head of security, claim they were assaulted by him, and brings aggressive dog into hotel. After my post yesterday, people wanted more, so here we go. I worked as the front desk supervisor at a hotel for 3 years, and the absolute worst entitled parents were hockey parents. Our hotel was attached to a large indoor water park and centrally located, so we were a prime choice for youth sport tournaments. Most sport teams were rowdy, but hockey entitled parents and entitled kids took it to a whole new level. A group of hockey teams stayed with us annually, and the amount of complaints and damage they caused forced us to implement a waiver. Hockey parents had to sign an agreement at check-in saying they wouldn't bring minors in the bar, wouldn't leave minors unattended after 10 p.m., and that they needed to forfeit their hockey sticks at the front desk or be kept in their vehicles, as we could not allow them in the guest rooms. The agreement was approved by their league, and any violation of the rules would be reported and the child would be barred from competing. The rules were strict, but we had backing from the league after we told them about the $10,000 plus damage caused by a hockey parent from their group the previous year. I can share that story too if you guys want. The entitled parents were furious about the waiver form, most of them screaming things like, "How am I supposed to watch the kids if you won't let them come into the bar?" And "You have adults working in the lobby at all times, right? Then why do I need to accompany them?" They figured we were their babysitters since they were paying for the rooms. The biggest issue was forfeiting the hockey sticks. Entitled parents were cussing out the staff, saying the sticks were too expensive and we might steal or break them. While trying to calm them down, I get a call from the food and beverage manager, saying there were hockey parents sneaking in through the patio entrance with their hockey sticks, heading to the elevators. I realized the bastards at the front desk were causing a diversion. I walked quickly over to the elevator and intercepted the sneaking entitled parents. There were lots of expletives and threats, but I was courteous and firm they were not going to go upstairs with the sticks, and they eventually stormed back to their cars. After the food and beverage manager locked the patio, the rest of the check-ins were still angry, but less dramatic. The next day, I come in to find the head of security, we'll call him Don, my man, still there from the overnight shift. Usually he's gone by the time the AM shift rolls in, but he stuck around to tell me about what happened overnight, and he pulled up the security tapes. The entitled parents were drinking heavily in the bar, ignoring their kids as expected. Around 12 a.m., some of them decided to try and sneak the sticks in again. They already didn't like Don because he made some of the entitled parents collect their unsupervised kids from the lobby earlier. So, when he was sitting in the elevator bay to block them, the entitled parents got ugly. I watched the security footage of the first 2 entitled mothers giving him attitude, but after a few minutes of complaining, they left. Then, a group of 8 or so hockey dads showed up with more stick bags. One tried to physically push past Don to the elevators, so Don stepped in front of him. The hockey dads surrounded Don, grabbed their phones out to film as they cussed him out and challenged him to a fight. I smiled because part of me wanted to see Don kick some entitled parent ass, but he quietly reiterated that they were not going upstairs with the sticks and asked which one of them would like to ruin their child's hockey tournament by throwing the first punch. This made them back off and eventually they took the sticks back to their cars. Don gave me the rundown on the rest of the less exciting things before he headed out, including a report that a dog was heard growling on the same floor as the entitled parents. Housekeeping later confirmed it belonged to the same hockey dad that tried to push past Don. Fast forward a couple hours and I get a call on the radio while I'm on break that an entitled parent was asking for a manager. At the time, we didn't have a manager for the front desk, so tough cases were handled by the supervisors. In this case, yours truly. When I rounded the corner, who do I see but the star of last night's security footage? Owner of the growling dog. "Hello sir, I'm the front desk manager. How can I assist you?" "I would like to report my dissatisfaction with my stay, and I would like a complete refund because your security guard assaulted me last night." "Oh my gosh, I am deeply sorry to hear about that. I will be right around to speak with you." I saw him give a smile to the group of other hockey dads lingering behind him in the lobby, and he followed me to the edge of the desk. I let him spill the whole sob story about he and his friends were walking back from the bar, minding their own business when the security guard yelled at their wives for being too loud. He then tried to stand up for his wife. The security guard shoved him and told him to mind his own business or he could get them evicted. He also threw in that Don swore at his son when he was caught running in the lobby. I don't know what he told you, but he was completely out of line to treat me or my family that way, and I want to be compensated. Given what you've told me, compensation would be completely reasonable, and I'm sorry you felt the head of security was treating you unfairly. But I'm afraid I was already informed of the incident this morning, and his report is very different. Are you calling me a liar? And I reviewed the security footage from the elevator bay. Hockey Dad's face flushed. So I'm afraid I cannot justify compensation when you were attempting to bring in your hockey sticks and threaten one of our staff. Hockey Dad storms off towards his friends, but I catch up to him. Mr. Hockey Dad, before you leave, I wanted to remind you about our policy on pets in the hotel. Hockey Dad rolled around and leaned in, inches from my face. Do you really want to go there with me? I'm afraid I do. Due to allergies and potential risks untrained dogs pose to other guests, only registered service animals are allowed in the hotel. He is trained. He's an emotional support animal for my son, and he's legally allowed to be here. I'm afraid that is not the same as a trained service dog. As long as the dog is well-mannered, I have no problem with it since you're out of state, but I have already received reports the dog has been growling at staff. It cannot be left alone in the room, it cannot go in the water park, and there will be an associated cleaning fee for pet dander and fur. If I get another report about the dog, your family will be asked to leave and it will be reported to your league. Heck you and heck this hotel! I just smiled, wished him a good day, and walked back to my desk. Housekeeping sent me pictures of the dog locked in its crate alone. Even though I didn't have any reason to kick him out, I charged him an extra $250 plus tax for a cleaning fee. I think this story basically confirms the idea that the worst kind of entitled parent is the child athlete entitled parent. This is a kids movie, you shouldn't even be here. My girlfriend and I are 21 and 20, and the other week we went to go see How to Train Your Dragon 3. We're both really big fans of the series ever since the first movie, and we've been really excited about the third movie for quite some time. We waited a couple weeks after the movie released, hoping that we could avoid all the screaming of packed children and enjoy the movie. When we had got to the movie, we were wrong. It was packed full of families and small children. Lots of annoying chatter and a few kids running around, but we hoped they'd shut up and sit down when the movie started. They did. Despite it being packed, girlfriend and I managed to snag some good seats before the movie theater really filled up. Enter Entitled Parent. This lady with two kids goes up and down the aisles looking for some open seats in the middle of the cinema, even though there were open seats to the sides. She spots us and squeezes past everyone in the row to get to us. Excuse me, my children and I would like to sit there. I was a little taken back and thought I misheard her. I'm sorry, what? My children and I would like to sit there. I'm sorry, but my girlfriend and I are already sitting here. Can you please get up so we can sit there? No, sorry, we got these seats. There's some empty seats over there. Yeah, no, we're not sitting there for the movie. We want to sit here. My girlfriend and I are sitting here. Even if we did move for you, there's only 2 seats and there's 3 of you. If you wanted to sit here, you should have come early when there weren't any people here. Now the movie is starting shortly. Good luck finding a seat. Please just move so we can sit down. This is a kids movie. You shouldn't even be here. Lady, please leave us alone. Aren't you just the rudest little brat? No respect. Whatever. They left and we enjoyed the movie without a hassle. After the movie, as we were leaving, we saw the lady speaking to some of the cinema staff whilst giving us dirty looks. We didn't bother sticking around to deal with her, so we just left. On a personal note, I can kind of relate to OP here because I also kind of grew up with How to Train Your Dragon. It came out when I was 10, so, you know, there's that. Moving on. Entitled parent lets sick kid loose on cruise, ruins everyone's vacation. 2 or 3 years ago, I went on a cruise with my mother and my friend with his mother. We grew up together as our families are really close, so we're practically like siblings. This was an 8-day cruise departing from New York City, going around the Caribbean, and then going back up. The ship was one of those really nice, famous ones with tons of restaurants, pools, water slides, etc. It had a capacity of over 2,000 guests. On the second day, our parents made friends with another group of families. We decided to head out together that day once the boat pulled into port. We met at breakfast to plan the day. There were quite a few families with younger kids, and of course, all young kids left to their own discretion at open buffets were wild and kind of gross. Later on, I overheard one parent, entitled parent, complaining to someone about their kid. Apparently, kid wasn't feeling well and hadn't wanted to come, but entitled parent didn't want to leave him behind to laze around in their room, as they had spent so much money to go out and have fun. I didn't think of it as something too serious, so we carried on. Around halfway through the day while hiking in the middle of nowhere on some small mountain, I started having serious stomach cramps. They got to the point where I would have to stop and breathe every 10 minutes or so. My mom and my friend decided to leave the rest of the group to help me back to where our tour bus was waiting, as I was clearly in no condition to continue hiking. It took us a while since I was in so much pain, but eventually we got back on the bus where I could attempt to sleep and wear it off. We assumed I had gotten food poisoning or ate something bad. What we hadn't known and found out later was that the freaking kid from earlier wasn't just not feeling well, he had norovirus. Symptoms include severe vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, muscle aches, fever, and fatigue lethargy. It can last days, which doesn't seem long, but keep in mind that it was an 8-day cruise and is extremely contagious, especially in close quarters. Well, guess what? We just happened to be in a closed-off ship with thousands of people with open buffets just waiting to be contaminated. By the next day, 3rd, I wasn't the only one not feeling well. Everyone in our room had gotten it. My mom, my friend, his mom. There was a small line in the front of the clinic by the time we got there, including a couple of the families who went on the hike with us. Literally everyone suffering from similar symptoms. The medical staff gave us some sort of Tylenol-esque medication and told us to stay in our rooms for the next while, so we didn't pass it to anyone else. We listened to them. Entitled parent did not. Entitled parent continued to take their kid around to the water slides, buffets, shows, despite everyone warning her not to. Her son was still very much sick, but she wanted him to have the best experience on his first ever cruise. On the 4th day, word of mouth told me that it was quickly spreading. The crew started offering free movies and in-room catering for those who were sick, in a futile attempt to keep them in their rooms. Live shows were canceled because even the performers were getting sick. On the 5th day, the crews announced that they could not dock the ship at the stop of the day. Local authorities had heard of the outbreak and forbade us from entering the port. Everyone was in a lot of pain. I could barely hold down water without throwing up, felt dizzy if I did as much as stand up, and just in general felt like utter absolute crap. I had Tylenol and rest though, and by around the 6th day, both my friend and I were well on the mend. We dared to spend a few minutes outside. No openable windows in the room made us crave fresh air. The population outside was decimated. If you've never been on a cruise before, it's like a mall on Boxing Day. There are people everywhere, talking and laughing and eating and doing whatever you do on a cruise. But that day, the ship was almost empty. Other than some employees wearing gloves and face masks, and a few lucky stragglers, we probably saw around 100 to 200 people, in comparison to the 2,000 person capacity. In order to have a good time, entitled parent let her kids spread the virus to almost everybody on the ship. There is no vaccine for norovirus, so literally no one could have been safe. Not to mention, cruise ships always have many retired elderly with lower immunity levels. She didn't just ruin literally everyone's vacation, she put people at genuine risk as well. I don't think her son should have even been allowed to board the ship in the first place if they had known he was sick, as I believe there are some regulations about bringing contagious diseases into the closed environment. Anyhow, moral of the story is, don't take your sick kids on vacation. If you do have to, for some reason, at least leave them in the room and let them recuperate instead of passing it around. It's not only better for everyone, it's better for them too. Also, avoid open cruise ship buffets if possible. Most have at least 1 or 2 free LAKEY restaurants options for all 3 meals. Here are the edits if you have any questions on the story, because there's probably quite a few of them. So my major problem here is the fact that this woman took her child around the cruise ship while he was feeling like this. I mean, we literally had someone who was an adult suffering to the point where they could barely get out of bed, where they could barely stand up, where they couldn't have food, and this poor kid was getting dragged around the cruise ship while feeling this pain, having to go down slides, choke down food, stand around for a concert. I mean, that kid must have been in agony, and their mom's like, stop faking it, you're just trying to be lazy. But on the bright side, every Thanksgiving and every Christmas in front of every family member, this kid's gonna be able to go, hey mom, remember that time you forced me to go have fun and I got 2,000 people sick with a really bad virus and ruined their vacations? Remember that, Mom? Yeah, you remember. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking that subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.